give it a few prompts like create jazz background with whatever tempo, whatever elaboration that you want to give, and that music snippet gets created. So that's the music that you heard in the beginning of the call was generated by Music LM. It's a path-breaking large language model from Google Research. But I want to shift, and I know it's an interesting use case for a lot of you publishers who want to create some sort of engagement through musical interventions in your in your lives. And so I guess we will um, see some usage of that picking up. um, I guess all of you today, those of you who are on the call, have a finger on the pulse of what's happening in the media and entertainment world today, right? Consumers continue to have immense choice, and the number of surfaces on which they can consume this content has just exploded multifold. There was a study done, just a few interesting anecdotes that will set context into what I'm going to say. There was a study done in 2022 where it was concluded that even adults hugely underestimate how often they check their phones, right? So the general belief when we did the survey was that adults check their phones 25 times a day on average, but the reality when this study was done through scientific mechanisms, revealed that adults actually check their phone 80 times a day, right? Another interesting anecdote, and I'm sure a lot of you have heard, that Netflix stated that their chief competitor today is sleep, right? So these are examples. I know they're a bit cheeky, but the industry is faced with the reality that consumers can choose from a broad array of options to fulfill their content consumption needs. And it's not just content, it's any entertainment option, and that too with a click of a button or a swipe or a voice command, right? And to meet this ever increasing expectation that consumers have, media companies have been investing more in exclusive content. And we see that across the board. We have access to streaming services, in media that provide 24/7 linear channels, live events, tens and thousands of hours of content licensed from around the world. And with so much choice, consumers are expecting an experience that is tailored and personalized for them. The key word here is it's personalized for them, it's not personalized for you or for me. And as these services continue to evolve, and business models creating hybrid models, etc., with advertising and subscriptions and revenue models around it, are also radically evolving every day. And we believe that this innovation that has come about in terms of infusion and general availability and democratization of AI, and specifically generative AI, is going to create a massive disruption. It's almost like a black swan moment for everybody in the media space, both publishing, content, video content, everybody else. So I'll go through that a little bit in detail, but this is the trend that we are seeing in the market. All right. Okay. So as you're aware, I'm not going to read through the numbers. Those of you who are on the call can read through this deck. But what we have seen is that what we have heard from a lot of our customers that we work with is that the shift of audience, the audience growth is the sole priority and the number one priority for all of you today. And all of you, I'm sure if there are differing opinions, happy to take that at the end. But I think all of you are, pivoted on accelerating audience growth, achieving profitability, and driving innovation, right? And that is strategically innovating across three pillars. One is focus on productivity within the enterprise, like focus of your own editors, your staff, your people who help develop and deliver content to you every day, improving the content creation process itself. So there is innovation happening in using artificial intelligence for content creation, for content production, for content management, and then enhancing and personalizing audience experience. I think those are the three sort of broad buckets that I would say massive amounts of innovation is happening in. Now, if you look at what's happening with generative AI, and I'll show it to you through a few examples, it sort of cuts across all of these vectors and cuts across all of these vectors very beautifully. What we are expecting with generative AI is a worldwide additional revenue for media companies to the extent of about $150 billion, right? There are massive productivity gains to be had, and we have worked with several customers directly. Google has engaged with them. We have engaged through our partners like Mediology, who help you bring some of these solutions to life. And we have seen that in customer service, there is a savings that you can do, a productivity gain that you can have of up to 45%. Software engineering is a no-brainer. I don't know if you heard the recent news from Google, where our CEO Sundar Pichai mentioned that now 25% of code that's written in Google is generative AI driven, right? Uh, Gen AI for marketing and to create content, marketing content, personalized marketing content at scale is a trend that we are seeing across industry verticals. We are seeing that in media, but we are seeing that across in banking, in financial services, manufacturing, in retail, in consumer CPG. We're seeing it across the board. So I think these numbers are real. These are validated, and I think I'll pivot back to what Manish said earlier, that generative AI, in my view, right now, is still a little bit of an underhyped technology intervention. What we are seeing now in terms of computer systems having human-like reasoning capability, and that also very, very powerful human-like reasoning capability, is a technology intervention that has never happened in the history of mankind. So this is truly a very defining moment for us as humans. And I think what's going to happen is that this generative AI layer and these experiences are slowly going to be interwoven, almost like electricity, which you can't touch, and can't feel, but you know it's powering most of your experiences and your life today. So I think you will need to think of it like that and need to start adopting some of these technology interventions that are coming today. And even today, I would say we are at day zero of this whole technology explosion. Even at day zero, some of the technology that we are seeing coming out from on generative AI is is massively going to change the world. So trust us on this, and I think all of you should be well placed to know that it is foundational for us in Google. We have a very long history of AI. We are a foundationally an AI company. We have AI woven into a lot of our products forever. But in addition to that, we were the founders of this whole generative AI wave, right? The original paper for generative AI, which is Attention is Everything, was written by researchers in Google. And that has laid the foundation for everything that you see today. The Transformers architecture is the foundation for everything that you see today as far as generative AI is concerned. So I think we are very proud. We are very excited of the work that's happening both within Google, within DeepMind, with research, and surfacing it to enterprises like yourself through Google Cloud, and all of us coming together to serve you this foundational electric layer to help you build experiences that will make foundational difference and foundational impact to all of you and your consumers. So generative AI is is really powerful when you sort of marry it with data, and it creates new that marrying of data and generative AI today um, is going to be really valuable. So the ability for example, to synthesize complex data and make it accessible, not just data that is structured, but data that is, form filled, handwritten data, etc. We're doing some path breaking work there. um, the ability to generate content at a click of a button. So, for example, the demo that you saw, that you heard earlier on Music LM, but I'm going to show you a few more demos. But the ability to write simple prompts and generate images, text, video, code, all of that is super powerful capability, and I think that's super useful for publishers. The ability, as I said earlier, to automate marketing campaigns and marketing operations and all of that, and the ability, which was the first use case in any case that came out of generative AI, is the ability now to manage customer conversations at scale without having to put massive contact center capacity behind to service your customer and to serve them in a very personalized manner, both using text and voice as a channel to engage with your customers. And there were certain constraints earlier in terms of the quality of voice and how robotic it felt and all of that. And I'm going to show you a few demos that will help address some of that. We have a long history. Google is also a media company in certain ways, is also a publishing house in certain ways, and we have the experience of running large scale billion user products and services. And we are seeing Google Google's AI technology powering media and entertainment across these sort of three buckets, if you might call it. Like on the left, we have the ability now through generative AI to power productivity, to power your employee productivity, right? To do, modernizing your website, to the ability to do optimize marketing, do targeted marketing, increase the efficiencies there, to streamline a lot of content and creative development process that happens inside your organizations, and to modernize customer service experiences. The second is the ability to improve content creation, and through generative AI, democratize a lot of aspects of content creation, and as a result, opening new ways of creating written material, creating illustration, sound effects, special effects, and a lot more. I can give you several examples. We work with several companies, large and small scale, but one that immediately comes to mind is Network 18 and News 18, both Network 18 as well as moneycontrol.com. I don't know if some of them are on the call today, have been able to use generative AI for a lot of their, editorial essays and creative work at massive scale. So we are very proud of that experience. I think, I don't know if there is somebody from the Hindu on this call, but Google Cloud is working very closely with Hindu to do a lot of their campaign work. For example, Hindu had this take a selfie with your election ink and stuff like that, and all of that is powered by Google's generative AI capabilities. And on the right, you see the ability for us to enhance and personalize audience experiences, and I'll show you a quick pre-recorded demo on that, on what I mean through that. But basically, it is the ability to create new interactive experiences powered by AI to help your consumers engage with the brand in absolutely never thought of new ways. So I think one of the messages that I also want to drive is just think outside the box, and you will see a lot of value coming out of that. So I just want to spend a few minutes just take through some of the things that I've already mentioned and show you this in action through small pre-recorded GIFs that you see on the right. What you are seeing here is the ability to supercharge marketing creativity, as I told you, and there is like GenAI for marketing, especially now that we have models like Imagine, and I'll show you that, the ability to create extremely high fidelity, high quality, indemnity protected, copyright protected images at scale for your businesses, and employ that in a marketing workflow has become a reality. So I think that is one of the things where we are seeing, this come to life. The second is on summarization and the whole customer service side. And summarization, you can use both as far as content summarization is concerned, to be able to deliver that content in different form factors on different sort of channels that you have, short form channels, long form channels, media channels, even get to illustratives and all of that, and the ability to improve contact centers through agentic workflows. Um, what we also have is extremely good capability now with generative AI more than ever for content transcription, translation, and localization. I think that's where Mediology is also helping us to a great extent in putting some of these to life for you. The ability now, we always had Google Translate, right? The ability to do translation of a written text exactly into different languages always existed. What changes with generative AI is the ability to put that context, put that, you know, finer human understanding of language into being, right? I am testing out a dog food version of some of this, and where you have, challenge with, for example, idioms, right? For example, if I had to translate just using Hindi, um, uh, so sonar ki ek lohar ki, right? If you had to translate this literally, like the English translation would be like 100 of whatever Goldsmith, one of Iron Smith or whatever, right? The ability now with generative AI to be able to contextualize that and to say the most powerful voice is that who speaks the least, or that, or for those that who has the highest amount of depth or knowledge, is now a possibility. We are already, in pre-beta, and even Google Translate is going to come out on the surface with some of these context-based translations now, and localization. We have a commitment from Google to serve all major Indian languages, and that is a commitment that we hold very dearly in our mission of Google for India. And I think you will be supremely surprised on how well how good the capabilities of these models are, as far as serving different Indian languages, mixed languages, also English, and all of that. Um, one of the other things that we are seeing increasingly come to life is how do you sort of monetize archived um, content, right? So the ability for you now to have your entire archival content library, at your fingertips to power some, nostalgia type use cases or whatever else, right, is now available through generative AI. So there is no limitation, the human limitation of having to spin through so much archive and make sense of what exists where. I think um, if you see a demo that I have later, I think you'll get a sense of what I'm trying to hint at. We are also seeing prompt-based content intelligence, which is basically using natural language, as I said, to analyze content. And I'll show you this in a real demo. I think that's when it will sort of come to life a little bit more. We urge you as news publishers and media houses who are on the call today to think about your customer data platform very, very deeply. The ability for you to have a 360 view of your consumer and the changing patterns of consumer behavior, first party, in your business is extremely critical. I would strongly suggest that as you continue to evolve and develop and use generative AI and AI models to power your business, marrying them with insight that is unique to you is where your IP foundationally lies. The ability for you to do that at scale, to use partners like Videology to help you power some of those journeys, is going to be the most important game changer for you, if I might say so. Recommendations are going beyond just search, right? The ability now through generative AI to do recommendations across all touch points, whether it is web, mobile, TV, email, push notifications, etc. Understanding the model itself, the generative AI experience itself, understanding and having the context of all your past interactions and engagement, and bringing that into life is also going to be, supremely important. If there's one thing that Google is extremely good at, is search. We have been in this business, close to 25 years now. So I think, I think we have earned our badges on delivering to you extremely great search experience. I'm very proud to say that one of the early customers in the publishing space that used, uh, our search capabilities, generative AI search capabilities, was Wall Street Journal. They have a case study for Wall Street Journal. You can look it up on Google later. The ability for us to do context-based search and do GenAI summarize experiences on your website is now literally click of the button. You can literally go to our Google Cloud Console, give your website URL, and have Google sort of index it and give you a Gen AI search experience for your website and for your search asset right now today with like literally 2 clicks. Some of the large customers who use us for, I gave a few examples already. Network 18, Hindu, doing some massive work with us, but globally, Spotify uses us. If you've seen their latest announcement, they use Notebook LM's podcast feature now wrapped in Spotify as well. That's an announcement they made this week. Fox Sports uses us for their vision, for doing searching millions of hours of footage. So I think that is also a massive customer for us. News UK uses customer data capabilities. So they have built a CDP platform using our BigQuery technology and using BigQuery as a data warehouse to power some of their generative AI use cases for personalization. Forbes is a very big customer of ours. They use Vertex AI Search, the similar experience that I was talking to you about, Wall Street Journal. Again, something that Forbes does at massive scale with us. Newsweek, I think they have gone on record to say that their CTR ratios improved by up to 75%. Subscription conversion rate, which is real money coming into the bank for Newsweek, improved by 10%, and it helped Newsweek through advertising interventions to increase the total revenue per visit by 10%. So massive uh, business impact through generative AI as we go through these experiences. Um, I will take a pause. If there are any pressing questions, let's break. I know I've spent the last 25 minutes sort of going on a monologue and the large rant about why this is important. I want to show you a few cool demos. So let's keep questions short. Maybe I'll take 2 or 3. Shweta, if there's anything online that you can read out for me, I'll be happy to take those, and then we'll show a few demo experiences.
Yeah. Yeah, sure, Naren. I think we have some questions coming in. I'll read out the first one from Shanti Kumar. So he's asking, can AI generated content, a blog or a news article, rank well in search results on Google?
I want to clarify this myth. I think this myth has been there. I'm sure, Shweta, you have heard this. Manish has heard this for a while. We have gone public as far as Google is concerned and established that there is no SEO impact for GenAI generated content. There is absolutely, there is a blog post on it. Please feel free to read that. I think it is a myth that we want to for sure address, right? So the ability for us to synthesize and weave a generative AI experience in the fabric of your workflow, whether it's your editorial workflow or publishing workflow, has no impact on search result rankings, etc. at all. So I want to, and there's a large technical article that's been published on it. If you do a Google search on it, you should be able to find it. If not, you can reach out to Manish later, and somebody from Meteorology or somebody from Google will be able to help you with that.
Thanks, Nareen. Another question from Shihabuddin. He's asking, as a search engine, does Google approve news copies written using AI tools?
The question for you, Shweta, but I'm
Yeah,
assuming it does because we
ideally,
don't make a
yes.
distinction
Yeah.
on.
I think Tarun is asking for the. I think he's asking for the future demos that you're now going to show. Can you share URL where we can also test it out as you speak or show a demo? I think this is for the demos that you'll be showing ahead.
Sure. Okay. I thought there was one, just I'm looking through the chat. There's one more question. Is music completely copyright free,
Yeah,
right?
that was the first one. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me address. It's an important question because especially in media, you need to know that you are well protected and there's no indemnification or lawsuits against you on content that you have generated through generative AI. I want to clarify another. I want to clarify about two myths. One is that all content, whether it is text or images specifically, and music, etc., is all indemnity protected by Google. If you're using Google's AI toolkit to generate it, right? Whether it's through AI Studio or through Vertex AI on Google Cloud, it is indemnity protected, which means that all content, especially images, etc., we apply a watermark called synth ID on these assets that identify who had created these assets, and this synth ID is unique to all images, video content, etc., that's generated from the model, and that is yours and yours to use. If there is any suit against you, Google will sort of protect and defend you against that. So that is a very important, and you, as you can imagine, right, it's generative AI, which means the same prompt uh, entered twice will ideally give you different results. Like there'll be some difference because every time it uses generative AI, so it generates fresh content and fresh images. But it could be like extremely similar as well, right? There is no controlling how the large language model will generate images or generate content. So that nuance on that small, uh, variance is protected through the synth ID that we deliver to you. So that is on as far as copyright protection is concerned. I also want to assure you that Google does not use any customer data to train our own models. So if you're sending us a prompt, if you're sending us data inside a prompt, which our generative AI models are using to generate content, that customer data, whether it's prompt or an ingestion or content that you send along with the prompt or embeddings, those who you are familiar with tech nuances, is not used to train our models, right? Our models are trained by data that is completely sanitized, that is Google owned data. We don't train our models with customer specific data at all. So just those two. And with that, I know I don't want to keep people on a Friday afternoon without showing them demos, uh, which is the cool part of my job also. Okay. So some of this was created, as you can see, was created um, for not only for publishers, but it's created for like video. But I think you will get the message that it applies to all sort of publishing. While the examples we will take is around videos and images and stuff like that. But the message that I want to drive is that it will apply to all content and it will apply to everything. So these are some of the demos that we have created. One is the ability to create short videos from long form videos, right? And uh, let me um, highlight exciting plays and memorable videos. So what we have done is we have taken a 20-minute video and thrown it to our large language model, which is in this case is Gemini Pro 1.5. And you will see that it has created uh, shots uh, of exciting moments, etc., within this video, right? So it's created a 1 minute. Like the instruction was to create a shorts which is less than a minute and a half. Now, what is interesting in this demo, and I'll play the video out for you, is two things. One is that it uses the capability of generative AI models like Gemini 1.5 with long context window. I think that is where Google really shines as far as generative AI capabilities is concerned as compared to all other models. The, the context window of a generative AI model is how long can the prompt be in terms of number of characters that you can feed it in one go to make sense of something, right? So in our case, in Google's case, the context window for Gemini models is 2 million tokens, right? So it can ingest 2 million tokens in one go. And that roughly in video format translates to 2 hours of video. So basically, if you have a 2 hour video that you don't want to over engineer, break the video into chunks, feed it into a large language model, and do all of that processing, the ability for us today is to take that entire video, dump it in a prompt window of Gemini, and then give it instructions that, hey, converted this into shorts or give me highlights for this, right? So this video
Google's
is
ambitions in artificial intelligence.
Google launches Gemini.
AI is rolling out to work. And it's completely changing the way we work.
right.
You know, a lot has happened in a year. There have been new beginnings. We found new ways to find new ideas.
So as you can see, I'll not run the whole 20 minutes. So it's a 20-minute keynote video when we announced Gemini as a model. And what we have done here is we have created
Google's ambitions in artificial intelligence.
Google launches Gemini.
AI is rolling out to work. And it's completely changing the way we work.
You know, like way bigger.
the wonderful thing about this also is what we are calling explainable AI. So not only did it generate a black box short video from a long video, it also gave you within this context reasoning as to why it picked certain slots of video to be synthesized, right? So it picked the first 8 seconds, and the reason for that the model picked it up was that it showcased the fast pace of AI advancements. Then it skipped from 8 to 59 and then picked the next 2 seconds to showcase highlights of Gemini on scientific research. Then it picked up another 4 seconds to illustrate growth and expansion by AI. So not only is this a way for you to have a human in the loop to sort of analyze why this was done through explainable AI, it also provides you the ability to quickly glance through it and see if it sort of meets your, content guidelines and stuff like that, right? So that's how this sort of works. What we have also done is used generative AI uh, to decide the best place for ads placement. What I'm showing you obviously is in context of a video. It can also be in context of text. It can also be in context of any other medium like a podcast or an audio or something like that. The ability to um, you know to get the right place for ad placement is all driven by generative AI because the um, uh, okay. So let me just show you this demo as well. Um, so I have two video files in here. I have a source video, which is a 1 minute 48-second video, and I have an ad, which is a 4-second ad of a GIF of a man driving a scooter. So it obviously, as you see, the output video is 2 minutes 9 seconds, which means that the ad has been inserted in this a few times, and it tells you that it inserted the ad at the 10th second because there was a change of scene where Ashley leaves her apartment, and then the video transitions to an airplane taking off. So if you look at this, and maybe I'll play
This
the
is
first
Ashley.
text.
She's going on a trip. A trip she started planning a while back, but right now feels kind of rushed. 11 hours.
So you see that the 10th second, the scene change. So this would be a good place in order for us to maintain continuity of ad.
This is Ashley.
And
she's going on a trip. A trip she started planning a while back, but right now feels kind of rushed.
So the ability, I know it's a roughly put together, not a great ad experience. You would want the same layout and stuff. But the point that I'm trying to make through this demo is the ability now for us to do this, without having a large human workforce to look at massively generated content for all of this work is for real. We told nothing to the model. We told the model, here is your source video, here is an ad video. You decide and give us the reason why you have decided what is the best place to place an ad, right? Thumbnail creation is another task that takes content folks a lot of time. So the ability to create, or let me show you Google sustainability video. So this is one where our CEO.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us. Whether you're in Brussels or joining virtually,
So this is a video about Google sustainability, and it's created these 3 thumbnails or 4 thumbnails from this video. And again, the interesting part is that we will give you the reasoning as to why the model chose those particular interventions or those particular frames to be taken as thumbnail, right? And you can then decide which one suits best on what format and stuff like that. And even that you can use generative AI to do, right? There are several other demos around video moderation, which is basically inserting the smoking, text on video where it detects the smoking scene. Sports highlights is another interesting one, and I'll give you a small story about this. When we started with this, when we made an early version of this demo, we gave it some instructions in terms of what all plays to look for to create highlights, right? And we said, oh, in a football match, there's typically attacks at the goal, tackles, or goals itself, or offside and stuff like that. We gave it a lot of instruction set and said, hey, based on this, if these plays happen, please extract the highlights for that. One interesting thing we got from the output of the model was that we had not specifically instructed the model to handle handing out of cards, red cards and green cards. The model was able to automatically understand, in the context of a football match and the fact that we are trying to create highlights out of it, that cards is also an important thing. So while we had not explicitly mentioned in our instruction set about cards, yellow and red cards, it did generate the highlights with the cards getting handed out, right? So it can create all of these. As you see, all of these titles that you see for these clips, the emojis, everything else is all generative AI driven, right? Nothing is human driven, and again, all the reasoning ability is there. We are doing some path breaking work. So video search, obviously you can do, have keywords and search videos and do some searches in videos. And I'll show you a different quick demo for that. But I think one of the interesting things that we are, and this is, guys, this is exclusive. You are probably the first 213 people on this call who are getting a very early preview of this. Is we are, as I was saying, that generative AI is going to get infused in foundational layers of all technologies. We are going to get dubbing as a native feature as part of our transcoding capabilities. So the ability to translate text and do generative AI-based text translation, etc., already exists in our GenAI models. What we are doing here is taking video content in one language and trying to mimic it in almost similar sounds, sounding voice in multiple different languages. So this is a video, and this is still in early stages of development. So what you will see today is not extremely neat in terms of quality, but in the next 1 or 2 quarters, this product is going to get matured and is going to come out very strongly, very positively on the entire dubbing capability and infused within the transcoding layer. So it is not a separate sort of a intervention later, right? So this is a 10-minute video on Harsha Bogle.
First of all, a very happy Deepavali to all of you. May our festival of lights illuminate your lives. May there be a lot of joy, a lot of happiness in your lives. You can hear the crackers behind me as well.
So as you can see, this is like we gave it no instruction at all, right? Two things. It maintains the video length at 10 minutes and 6 seconds. So that transcoding engine itself does that, compression or fast tracking and making sure that hand movements marry what the speaker is trying to say, trying to match the voice as much as it can. Again, it is very, very early stages of development. So some of it will not look extremely clean, but just air out the.
आप सभी को बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं। आपका ये दीपावली का त्योहार आपके जीवन में खुशियां और रोशनी भर दे। आप मेरे पीछे पटाखों की आवाज भी सुन सकते हैं लोक त्योहार का।
So the ability for a model itself to do it in line in the transcoding process, I think is where the path breaking work on this is happening. We are also doing subtitling based on GenAI. One last demo before I show you, or maybe two last demos that I want to show you, is on marketing. Say, for example, you had to do a marketing for handbags, right? And you had to send it to a bunch of folks, a marketing campaign targeted to a bunch of stuff. As you can see, my input instruction is nothing. My input instruction is that I want handbags from a category, and it needs to be sent to whatever different And what I'm using here is RCS, which is Google's Rich Communication Services. And as you can see, all of this, add a touch of chic to your style, upgrade your wardrobe, find your new favorite today, and all of that, including this image, was all generated real time right now from using generative AI, right? And then we also have the ability now to synthesize both of this together and feed this back into GenAI in a loop to make sure that this is like valid content. It matches your brand guidelines. If you want to do logo insertion, etc., etc., all of that is possible in a flow, right? And not only does it do that, as you can see, it also suggests link options within the text message that you will receive, which is either shop now or view collection, right? So the ability for you to be relevant on every single surface of content that you send, and this I showed you as marketing content, it could be news content, right? The ability to do that, the ability to formulate it in a way that appeals to your audience based on segments that you would have created exists today. The other thing, I don't know how many of you have seen or experienced Notebook LM. I'm sure it is a very popular um, tool that's available now, and a lot of people have already seen and experienced it. And if you haven't, I would urge you, and I'll not show you a demo of Notebook LM. It is a consumer product available from Google. You can go today to notebooklm.google.com and try out the experience. The experience is to engage with your content in different forms. And what it does, the cool feature it does is any content that you upload, a PDF or give it a website reference or any other content, it creates a study material for it, it creates an FAQ document for it, and it also creates a two-person podcast, extremely human like language, in extremely human like context for you. So let me just show you an existing notebook. I won't run through the whole demo, but I want you to focus on the voice capabilities of this two-person podcast that was generated for the context that I gave was Harvard's Law School.
Welcome to our deep dive into the world of Harvard Law School. We're going beyond like the typical best law school headlines and using their website as our guide.
Oh, interesting.
It's kind of like a digital campus tour.
Okay.
But instead of
So you saw how two people were talking. There was interspice. It was just okays, ahs, ooms in all of that conversation. What we are doing now is we are taking this capability into text-to-speech model that Google Cloud provides and make it real for you to use this two-person communication in storyline. So for publishing, for example, if you set up a story that you would want to deliver as a podcast experience or as two people conversing experience, you don't have to completely rely on Notebook LM. You can use the Notebook LM voices and get that context, and it will infuse human-like emotions in that natively, right? What that means is that all these ums, ahs, and all these pauses and overlaps, you don't have to train it. Generative AI will automatically determine the sentiment of that discussion and modulate the voice and overlays accordingly. So, I don't know if I can show you this, but let me show you a quick demo. So, the thing that you saw, so think of yourself like as publishers, you would have a text like this, like speaker R is the first speaker and speaker S is the second speaker. So speaker R says, I have read the Google Cloud multi-speaker audio generation sounds amazing. Speaker S says, oh, what's so good about it? Well, what? Well, you should find it out by yourself. All right, let's try it out, right? That's the only context we have given. We have given it no markup. Let's listen to the voice output.
I heard that the Google Cloud multi-speaker audio generation sounds amazing.
Oh,
What's so good about it?
Wow.
Well, what?
Well, you should find it out by yourself.
All right, let's try it out.
So as you can see, the ability for the model to natively understand that there was a banter going on, there was a back and forth, there was some humor element going on back and forth in this small text, and infuse that laughter in the second speaker's voice before the last sentence is remarkable capability on how advanced these generative AI systems today are, and the ability to do human-like voices now. So all those days of those robotic-sounding AI voices are all but over. So those were some of the things. I know we are up on time. We have 3 more minutes on this call. I was hoping that we'll get some more time for a few more demos. There's never enough time to do all of that. But there are a few that I would urge you to look up on YouTube. There are a few GenAI demos. One that is very interesting is about Gemini's long context window in terms of video extraction, extracting key elements from a video file. And maybe as a follow-up mail, Manish, I can send you a few links that you can share with the audience. I'll pause here. Any final?
I think few questions, Naren. I think a lot of people have asked if these demos have a URL which they can actually test it on. So while I can answer that, but please feel free to answer and how they can play around with some of these use cases.
Yeah, the demo asset that I showed to you earlier, the media demo asset that we have built that in-house, and these are for our own personal demo purposes. But I can tell you that building a lot of this is not difficult. Google's AI Studio, which is aistudio.google.com, you can start there and start dropping your text and your images and your video files and write simple prompts to start playing around with it. The playground is available. For more production use cases, I would urge you to reach out to your representative from Google Cloud, and we'll enable you on Vertex AI, which is the production platform for getting some of these things live into production. I would also urge you to reach out to Mediology. They're a massive partner of ours. They know some of this tech. They run on behalf of all of you guys. So another good place would be to experience and experiment this through Mediology. But feel free to reach out to us.
I think one more question was what languages are supported in some of the demos you showed. Like, is Bengali supported? Is Malayalam supported? What are the languages? Because this is a language program which we've been running.
Yeah. So our generative AI models, which is Gemini Pro and Gemini Flash, today support most Indian languages. I think 9 are officially supported. But we have tested it out even with languages that are not supported, and we get surprised. For example, English is not officially written as a supported language, but we have done a lot of experiments with English, and that works very, very well. I would say all the major languages, Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Bengali, Kannada, Marathi, Gujarati, Oriya are natively supported. The results are extremely good. Some of our products that use generative AI, for example, the demo that I showed you for Notebook LM, Notebook LM, like the voice enabled feature, the podcast feature today only is in one language, which is American English, American accent English. And we will extend those capabilities as we test. See, the issue is that, as you can imagine, that feature was trained with a lot of podcasts as well, right? So the ability to have good quality podcasts as training material to train that model is also an issue that we are grappling with. So as we get better training data in all languages to see how interplays, especially of multi-speakers happens, that's going to become even better.
Okay, I guess Naren, some suggestions though, feature requests for Google Meet have come in as well, where I'm like, the request is that through generative AI, you should be able to, if you answer a question like you just answered, the answer should come automatically below the comment.
We will take that feedback. It's a good feedback, actually.
Yeah. And
Whoever gave
Yeah.
that, we'll give you. Yeah.
Yeah, we will let the Gmeet team know, but great feedback.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. It's also risky because sometimes we use this mechanism to do review calls with our bosses, and you don't want to record everything that is getting said. So he asks you a question, and you don't want to give an answer that you want to be recorded in perpetuality. So becomes a challenge.
right.
But yeah, great feedback.
Yeah. I think, Shweta, did I miss any other questions which came in? I don't think so.
No. I think most of the questions that were coming in were like, they just wanted the demo links. They wanted to understand and find out how can they also do this. I think those were like majority of the questions. And then again, language question, Manish, which you covered.
Yeah.
I think most of them wanted to know because I think most of the time when we launch tools, it's always English and Hindi. So, the other language users who are already here are like, oh, is it there in our language too? I think that was a major part of the questions that came in, which I think, Naren, you've already answered. So I hope all the language questions that came in, all the publishers who've asked that, you've got the answer. It's already there in all of your languages. And Naren just specified that. So I hope that answers your question.
I'm, eh, as I said, I want to reiterate that, Google's commitment on Indian languages is firm. We will make every Google product a first-class citizen in all Indian languages. And that is a commitment that we have to our presence in this country, to the large population of Indian users that we serve on search, on YouTube, on other Google products, maps, etc., at billion user scale. So I can tell you some of this. A lot of this depends on generative AI side, depends on the amount of training data that's available to train these models, but it's only getting better. And we continue to get surprised on how good the language support is.
Naren, one more question from Vipin from Matrabhumi, Kerala. So I think you know the video dubbing thing that you showed, right? So he's asking, can video dubbing be done? Say, for example, now he's from Kerala. So from Malayalam to English also, we kind of showed English to other languages, but he's asking, can the opposite also be done?
Yes. The
Yeah.
answer is yes, it can be done.
Yeah.
So
Vipin,
the transcoding engine, all it needs is it auto detects the language of the source, and you specify what languages are required on the output. And Vipin, but as I said, it's still in development. I think it will take us another 3 months to get it to a place where it is really refined. So bear with us, but it's coming very soon.
I think this has been one of the biggest feature which most of the publishers have been asking for. So I'm sure everyone's happy to see this, but yeah, just give it some time, and I'm sure when it's there, it's going to be like really helpful for all of you all.
Yeah. No, I am truly thankful. I know we have 200 plus people still on the call, which means I didn't bore people to death with the session today. I'm really grateful for all of those who joined this session. Um, really thankful to you to have spent the time and listen to us. I think again, my last point is that it is a revolutionary technology. Please go ahead. Don't be fearful about it. Adopt it now. The tech is really good. The tech from Google is even better. So please, be brave, be bold, and take a leap of faith on this. Manish, over to you.
Yeah, no, I think absolutely well said. And, again, it kind of feels a bit sad that this is the final session of the program. But thanks to you, Naren, you've made it probably a session which has left all of us thinking and visualizing what is to come in the year ahead. I think I read a quote today which was from Sundar Pichai, and he said that 2025 you may not see a lot of improvements lot of new use cases, because a lot of low hanging fruits have already been kind of picked up. But I think what we will see is more depth in each of the features and more accuracy with respect to all the capabilities of generative AI, which we have seen in 2024. When we started the program in April 2024, the biggest question was what language will we support. As we end the year, end 2024, very happy to know that almost all of the Indian languages which were part of this program, and even those which were not a part of it, are already being supported in some way. Of course, accuracy remains, which will only get better, and we should see 2025 as the year of more accurate generative AI. And the sooner you integrate it into your workflows, the better it is, because it's only going to get better. So yeah, I think great thoughts. Shweta, please feel free to close and say the final bye-byes. And probably if there's a survey needed right now, I don't think there is, but still, if it's needed, then we can do that.
Yeah, I think thank you so much, everyone. I think we've been all working together for the last 6 months, so many workshops, and this was like a great one. I think, as I said, right, this is the best one, and I can already see a lot of them saying the same. I think we will share a feedback survey form post the workshop on the WhatsApp groups, and we will have another wrap up call next week with all of you all, just to say a final bye. But yes, till then, see you again like another 1 week, and we are all going to be back there. And yes, I think thank you so much, Naren, for taking time. I know it's like the end of the year, and we're all busy with a lot of stuffs, but thank you so much for taking time and coming and showcasing all the demos. And I think making also publishers excited to use them. I think so many of them were literally like asking for the demo links when you were literally showing all the demo. Like I think some 10-20 were something that I was seeing in the chat links. So I think that's great, and I'm looking forward to
one thing that I would urge, I know we have still 200 people on the call, please go ahead and try Notebook LM today.
Yes.
You would be amazed and surprised at the capabilities. I think it's a handy tool for publishers, handy tool for journalists, editors, anybody in the research line. I think it's just the capabilities of Notebook LM are really powerful. It should be your sort of research assistant in your pocket. Yes, notebooklm.google.com. So that's the one that you should try. Yeah. Thank you, Richa. Oh, didn't realize Richa. We also have Richa, by the way, on the call. I didn't realize we have one more Googler. Richa, thank you for making it.
No, thank you, Naren. Thank you for taking time out, and such a super session. I hope everyone can benefit from it.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Richa, for sharing the Notebook LLM link. And I think for all of you, we'll see to it that we share all of these helpful links and some resource links that Naren spoke about. We'll share it. So yeah, just look forward to that.
Sure. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.